our children. We want the trees to be here.
Randy Stoltmann, author, mountaineer, and passionate campaigner for wilderness, was killed in an avalanche in 1994. Shortly before his death, he drew up a formal proposal to preserve the Elaho Upper Lillooet Wilderness under the BC Government Protected Areas Strategy. His friends and peers want the area preserved and named for him. In his Protected Areas Strategy submission, Stoltmann wrote, quote, "The key objective is to protect the complete functioning natural system in this area, from valley bottom to mountain top, in an undeveloped condition. The measure of success will be in the ability of the Elaho Upper Lillooet Wilderness to retain its wonderfully remote and primitive character." Unquote. The proposed Randy Stoltmann Wilderness area is close to 57% of British Columbia's population and has much to offer in recreation and conservation values.
This is the finest piece of wilderness we have remaining in the Lower Mainland, and that's why it's so important to keep it unlogged and unroaded. Here's Vancouver down here, and then up in this area is Squamish, and then about 100 kilometers north of Squamish on this logging road we've just traveled up, we get to here, which is the confluence of the Elaho River and the Clendenning Creek. And this is where Interfor has just started that bridge construction that we want stopped. Earlier on, they blasted a road through Sims Creek. Now, Sims Creek, Clendenning Creek, the Elaho River, and the Upper Lillooet are all pristine, unlogged valleys, and that's really rare in the Lower Mainland. And here, while the provincial government is doing a study on this area as to what areas should be preserved as parkland, we've got the logging companies specifically targeting these last few intact valleys. It's a crime, and that's why we're out here, to stop that crime from happening.
We are on the banks of the Elaho River, December 30th, 1995. Answering the call of wilderness protection, we established a tent camp to assess the impact of this winter's logging road building in the proposed Randy Stoltmann Wilderness area. Fearful of being snowbound, we traveled in a convoy to gather at the end of the Elaho River logging road, near the site where International Forest Products temporarily halted construction of a logging bridge after complaints the company was entering a proposed wilderness area while a British Columbia government park study was underway.
My immediate concern today is that the need for this bridge, while consultation is in progress, and what I feel personally is that there's a huge public education campaign that needs to take place here. People need to become aware of these areas and actually get up here. It's it's that, once that takes place, you know, the public would be horrified. We have roads going into Sims Creek, and now this really into the heart of the wilderness area. Across this river is one of the few wild, truly wild areas remaining in this portion of the province. There's grizzly bears over there that still aren't aware that Christopher Columbus has landed. It's totally wild. And here they've got a bridge abutment, and the road has begun into a huge roadless area.
There is power in our hands, but we deny it. We don't want the responsibility. Call to arms will only incite the riot. Call a search for our own identity. But if we meet them face to face, take a stand to change our future, all our problems could dissolve without a furor, and our children in their time will be thankful that we crossed that line, 'cause time has come, it's a season of changes, and all these changes play their
There's the people that are on this committee that are deciding what to do with this land, which is a vast amount of land, you know, 260,000 hectares. And, you know, a person like me would have no say, you know. They're here, they're living in the city, I know they're trying to do good and drive our economy and help the country and all these different things, but I feel like, you know, they're in there making the decisions, whereas someone like me, in my hiking boots, who's just walked out of the wilderness, you know, I wouldn't have a say, you know, and I guess I'm just the average person, and I'm really fed up. I'm really angry because I don't feel like someone like me has a say anymore.
February 11th, 1996. The legislature lawn campout that began January the 22nd to call for open house public meetings for new parks for the Lower Mainland continues into its fourth week through record low temperatures, monsoon rains, and regulations.
I think people sort of like it, though. You know, a lot of people we're known for the tent, and a lot of people ask, you know, where's the tent, and, you know, are you camping, and do you sleep here? It was a bit better when we could have it on wheels and just stationary in one spot and not have to wheel it around. That's kind of, I think that's a bit bogus, but because the legislative grounds, we can't have any fixed structure on it. And so we have to keep it moving and being wheeled around, then it's not considered permanent fixed structure. I think it's kind of stupid. I think it's pretty stupid because, I mean, what difference does it make if it's sitting here on wheels or if it's being pulled around? I mean, it's not hurting anybody. And I mean, they know that we're a pretty peaceful group here. We've been here for 3 weeks almost, and we haven't had any problems.
Just even trying to make a simple democratic process and get your point across, there's constantly firings to keep you down. So we had a tent on the lawn that we negotiated for, and then they made us take the tent off the lawn, and then we brought the tent back on the lawn on rollers and left it still, and then they kicked the tent off the lawn. So now we're back on the lawn with the tent, more as a statement that we have a right to be here, but we have to pull the tent behind us day and night. It's worth it, though, because it does, again, just demonstrate that the public needs to get out.
February 21st, 1996. The camping protest has gone airborne. The tent is floated to congratulate Glenn Clark on his successful leadership campaign and to remind him that proposals for Lower Mainland parks need open house public hearing.
I would ask each and every one of you to be on the phone, to be writing, to be going down to the offices and talking and bugging and pushing the new regime for this basic right of public open house meetings in the Lower Mainland. Will you do that for me? Will your friends and family do that for me? It's just basic. And if we can turn it around in the Lower Mainland, if we can bust this 13% death sentence, I promise you we will bust it across this province. That's what the fight in the Lower Mainland is about, is getting some life back, some hope of life back in the province of BC, so we don't become just like another state in the lower 48 states, bereft of grizzlies, no wolves, no salmon, just a bunch of damaged ecosystems. Thank you very much.
I was raised in a logger's paradise, where every tree has a price. Timber is heard ringing through the land. Logging truck driver blew his horn like a one-man band. Wages are made and the price is paid. Everything down to the chainsaw blade. Clear-cut trees, lot of stumps, and the breeze don't fall down. The last stand of trees. Clear-cut trees, lot of stumps, and the breeze don't fall down. The last stand of trees.
Help save the proposed Randy Stoltmann Wilderness area. Contact the Western Canada Wilderness Committee, 20 Water Street, Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. V6B 1A4. Telephone 604-683-8220. Fax 604-683-8229 and toll-free 1-800-661-WILD. The Western Canada Wilderness Committee is also on the Information Highway.
We're on Sims Creek, a tributary to the Elaho River, which is also tributary to the Squamish River up in the beautiful forests of British Columbia. This is on the doorstep of the proposed Randy Stoltmann Wilderness area. And what we're looking at here is an example of logging and road building activity that's taking place in 1995. And here clearly we have a situation where a road has been built right in the middle of the river. In fact, probably half of this river channel has been filled in by road building material. And on my left upslope, we have a clear cut that goes right down to the river, completely excluding any kind of reserve zone.
June 6th, 1995 at Sims Creek, a very significant salmon stream. Under the Forest Practices Code, a salmon stream channel over 50 meters wide should be afforded a 50-meter riparian reserve zone and a 20-meter management zone for a total of 70 meters. When road building was approved in the Sims Creek area, the Forest Practices Code was not yet in effect, and there are devastating consequences.
District forest offices and the forest companies are supposed to be acting in the spirit of the code, despite the fact that they have 2 years to comply. Well, we see here absolutely no compliance with the code whatsoever. There should be a 50-meter riparian reserve zone along this creek, and there is not. It's gone. In addition, right along the bottom of the slope here, along with the road, we're right along the river's edge, and this is where the biggest and juiciest trees are. So it also gives the company benefit to put a road in this location rather than go up higher where the scrawnier timber is. The yarder was located, well, you can see immediately in front of me here on the rock slope where all the sloughed material in the wood is. That is basically where the yarder was, right smack in the middle of the road with its ass end hanging out over the riprap boulders here. And that's basically right where the old stream bed was. They were sitting right in the middle of the river at that point.
Came strangers to the forest, loud and clumsy on their feet. Sensing fear and distrust, something they could not defeat. Heard the screaming of their weapons, felt the earth shake in my roots. silence in the end.
Yesterday morning I woke up very close to the old growth at the edge of the logging road in the upper Elaho, and we looked out and saw a pair of ravens in a tree about 50 feet from where our tent was camped. And we had the opportunity to ski into the old growth forest down by the river in the Elaho. We saw enormous Douglas fir trees, we saw enormous cedar trees. And as I was wandering through the forest in the Elaho, I stopped for a moment and I asked myself, who is speaking for the owls and the bears and the fish and all of the wildlife in that forest? We're out here using our voices, calling for public meetings, and who is representing the animals? Who is speaking for them? And then I realized that we have to do that as well.
The Randy Stoltmann Wilderness area is a key link in the Coast Mountains migration corridor for populations of grizzly bear, moose, wolverine, mountain goat, and wolf. It includes large, pristine watersheds, alpine meadows, glacial lakes, waterfalls, ice fields, and the last significant stand of Douglas fir on the mainland coast. Unless the area is preserved, and quickly, all of it will be gone, and many animals will be doomed, and so will the wild, fragile wonder of the region.
The point is that Canada has signed the Convention on Biodiversity, and as such the government is pretty well obligated to live by that convention. And whereas we have many what we call rock and ice parks, that's wonderful as such, but it does not do anything for biodiversity because of the fact that animals do travel from the valley bottom in the wintertime and up to the higher elevations in the summertime. And if we go in here and cut out the valley bottom like we've done on so many other valleys, there is no winter habitat for the animals. And we know that every living creature needs certain conditions in order to survive. And if we take the valley bottom away, that's what you call the critical habitat, there's no way they're going to survive.
Oh, this is a real shame. We really got caught by surprise. After Sims Creek, we didn't think they'd be trying to push in here so soon. Certainly not at Christmas time. Over here is where they want to put their bridge. This is the wet crossing here where they move their big equipment right through the stream. But they've blown this out, and I guess that's where they plan to put this bridge. A bridge must not go here. This is the finest piece of wilderness we have left in the Lower Mainland. You know, there's only a handful of intact river valleys remaining in the Lower Mainland, and we're here at the confluence of two of them. Upstream is the beautiful Elaho River where the Wilderness Committee's trail goes, and right over here the Clendenning Creek, 30,000 hectares, comes in. And here we have the logging company sneaking up on the edge of wilderness, trying to blow a road through at Christmas time before anyone notices. Well, luckily, one of our members was out here and noticed.
The price of wilderness is vigilance and activism. Big timber corporations plan to build bridges and blast in logging roads while a park proposal is in progress shows a disregard for wilderness values and a lack of respect for those who champion wilderness protection. In a rush to clear-cut the rare remnants of old-growth forest, non-sustainable logging practices have also caused irreparable damage to fish habitat.
We're standing somewhere in the Elaho River watershed. This is extremely disappointing. We haven't yet been able to determine whether there are in fact fish in this stream, but this stream is very typical of mountain cutthroat trout streams. Even if there are no fish in there, the values of this stream to the wildlife of this area would be phenomenal. I'd hate to think of the numbers of species that have lost their homes as a result of the absolute unconscionable destruction of this stream environment behind me. What we're looking at here is a lower valley bottom stream flowing through, it comes down out of the forest and flows through this huge clear cut. It's a meandering stream, and it averages anywhere between 3 and 5 meters in width. And as you can see from the devastation behind me, there is not a single tree left standing along this creek. And a quick pan of this area, you'll see the amount of logging debris that is still left within the wetted channel of the stream. There are directly behind me 3 successive blockages of the stream channel that are a result of logs being literally dragged across the stream channel, and the underbrush and the branches and the tops and the shattered pieces of limbs and trunk rolling down along with the log right into the stream, causing stream blockages, and this is resulting in channel diversions. Oh, I would say in about 5 years, what we're going to see here is a small stream that was once dominated by small treed islands and slopes that were held together by trees and stumps with lots of organic soil, a perfect and beautiful, wondrous wildlife corridor that supported thousands of species, including insects, birds, amphibians, reptiles, and mammals, will now be, despite the fact that it's a low energy environment, these erosive processes will still take place, and we come back here 5 years from now, and what we'll probably see is a single large gravel bar.
If we lose this forest, if we savage the land, we might as well be cutting off our own right hand. For we and the earth are one, under the moon, under the sun. If we lose this forest, if we savage the land, we might as well be cutting off our own right hand. For we and the earth are one, under the sun. If we lose this forest, if we savage the land, we might as well be cutting off our own right hand. For we might as well be cutting off our own right hand. Under the sun, if we lose this forest.
Welcome to the border between heaven and hell. Behind me is hell. It's one of the largest clear cuts I've ever seen. It's a recent clear cut. We're going to get in the truck and we're going to measure just how big this clear cut is. I'd say it's well over 1 kilometer in length. It's unbelievable that we're still doing this kind of logging here in British Columbia. You know, the scientific panel in Clayoquot Sound said if you're going to put an opening in the forest, it should be no more than 4 tree lengths wide. Look at this place. They cut a huge swath. Then they lit a slash fire to burn up the branches and things. Then the fire got loose here. It traveled up the hill, burning the standing timber. The fire got really hot, and you'll see things back here in hell where it burned the soil right down to the rocks. This is the end of the road, and this is where we want the road to stop. To my left, the untouched mountain peaks and old-growth forests and valleys and rivers of the proposed Randy Stoltmann Wilderness area, only 3 hours drive from Vancouver. The road stops here.
It is impacting on the area, definitely, to have a road coming into it. But as long as we can hold it with this type of an intrusion, it's not going to destroy the area for a wilderness value. But if the road goes farther ahead than Outrigger, we are looking at a real mess in terms of what's left. I'd like to see it saved because I think we need an area where we have true wilderness in BC that's near the lower mainland, that we can actually enjoy it. The provincial parks that we have now are great, and they provide scenic values that are really nice. But on the other hand, you know, if you look at things like Garibaldi and that, they're so hardened now and so overused that there really isn't a wilderness atmosphere for people to enjoy. There's nowhere to get back to the basics. Once you cross that river, it really is the basics. There's no roads, there's no airports, there's nothing. You're absolutely on your own, which is a joy to have when you can find it. See, so far we've seen lots of birds, bears, moose, bobcats, mountain goats, you name it, it's around here. Lots of deer as well.
There's a conflict all over this planet, from Australia to Labrador, between people who only see profit
this question of the link between the forest practices and the damage to salmon streams is extremely volatile politically. And from my experience in the past, when I was involved with I was in the British Columbia Forest Service for many years and dealt with people from the Department of Fisheries and Oceans, and I received their input on logging plans, and because all the logging plans that happen on the coast are referred to the Department of Fisheries and Oceans for comments, and in my experience they would often raise warnings about certain logging blocks, certain road locations, but these were routinely ignored. From personal communication with some of these people, they have told me that it's more than their job is worth to really raise a ruckus about the fact that their recommendations are being ignored. So there is a climate of fear within the Department of Fisheries and Oceans from the people that are actually going out there and looking at the logging plans and making the assessments, and if they want to hang on to their jobs, they have to keep quiet about what's really going on out there, and that's the honest truth.